What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about 3 ways you can attack a zone DB, okay? So we're going to be talking about the ways that you guys could create some separation against zone coverage. What can you guys do to make sure that you maximize the separation that you're trying to get with your route? So I hope this video gives you guys some value, but also, fellas, if you're a receiver and you want to get stronger, you want to be more explosive, you want to have better hands, you want to have a stronger core, stronger upper body, check out that very first link in the description with a gym-specific workout plan for wide receivers. So the specific exercises wide receivers need to do in the gym. Check out that very first link in the description. It's a full 28-day plan. Hope we get you guys on that soon. Let's get started. So you see Diggs here. He's working this dig route, right? And this quarterback kind of throws him, kind of settles him with the ball, but he works this pressure step. He works this pressure step, and he gets to that blind spot, okay? So that's the main things that we're going to be focusing on right here. So those are the first 2 ways, right? We only got 2 clips today that we're going to take a look at, but we're going to be talking about 3 different ways. So we know it's zone coverage. Obviously, this DB is going to be off, right? So obviously, he's off, but there's also a thing called off man. So how can you kind of understand what this coverage is? If this DB is off and he's facing inside, right? So he's facing the quarterback, and he's bailing, and he's giving you, like he's turning this front hip, he's giving you the inside, usually zone coverage. Now, why would we say that that's zone coverage? Because A, he's not going to play you in man coverage like that because he doesn't want to chase you 50 yards across the field, or he's probably got like safety help to the inside. So you can maybe see that it's man, but maybe it's like 2-man or something like that where they got safety help over the middle, but it's man coverage as well. So maybe he's a little bit outside shade. So there's a couple differentiating factors that tie into it. But on this specific play, you see how he turns and runs like this, and Diggs does a great job of closing the gap. Okay, so that's the first thing that we want to talk about in how to beat a zone DB. Let's close the gap. Let's quote unquote step on his toes, because no DB is just going to sit there if you're going fast. Now, I get this question a lot. Hey, coach, I'm going up against a zone DB, off-man DB, and I run at him. I'm selling vertical, but he doesn't move. You're probably not actually selling vertical, okay? You're probably coming up. You're probably going half speed. You're probably not actually running. Your eyes aren't forward. You don't have a good pad level. You're not in full stride. All those things apply, and you got to do all those things to move this DB out of there and to get him to backpedal, to get him to turn his hips and get him to run, okay? So that's the main keys. You guys got to make this dude believe fade. That's the number one key to getting separation on any route. Let's make him believe something. Let's make him either believe that I'm going post and break it off to a corner. I'm going post, break it off to an out. I'm going fade, I drop it off on a comeback. I'm going fade, I run it off on a dig, okay? So make sure that we are closing the gap and trying to step on his toes. Now, the next thing is you see here, so what is this considered? You guys should be asking yourselves these questions. And when you're watching film, when you're breaking down film, that's called a blind spot, okay? So that blind spot is where this DB can be forced to speed turn and forced to really think vertical. Because if you're running a fade against zone coverage, right? If you're running a fade against zone, this is how it builds off everything. What do you want to do? You want to give that one fake to the inside. They call it a vertical set. You could do it off a rocker step. You see guys like Justin Jefferson do that all the time. But that one hard cut to the inside that you see Diggs do right there, you see how he gives this kind of cut to the inside? They call that a vertical set. Now, what that does is that kind of gets this DB to sit on this post or sit on an inside breaking route. So maybe he kind of hesitates, and then I give up some space to the backside. I didn't just run straight there, let him restack me and force me to the sideline. I closed the distance. I attacked his front hip, I attacked his near hip, and I gave this head fake to the inside, right? Maybe get him to sit a little bit, but now I got space to just slip right behind him because I closed the distance and beat him over the top on a fade. And what does a DB not want to get beat on? A fade when he's in zone coverage, right? So he's going to make sure that he's not getting beat over the top. So he does a great job of doing that. You see how much we make this DB commit. Now he can't see me. Now he's going off the field. Even if he plays this dig well that I'm about to run, even if he knows that I'm running a dig, he still can't see me. He's going to be a second behind, 2 seconds behind. And that's a big difference when you're at this high of a level, right? Especially, and again, when you're against a high school DB, maybe a college DB who's maybe not as experienced as this guy would be. When you hit a guy with that vertical step and that little pressure step, get him to sit to the inside and you slip behind him, dude, he's going to fully turn his hips and commit if you guys do it fast. That little pressure step right there, you got to have some burst to it. You can't be soft with that cut. That step's got to push you to the outside. You got to have a little bit more of an explosion, and you got to make sure that you close the gap before you do that. So the second way, right, number one way to attack a zone DB is close the distance. That's what you have to do. And obviously it applies like if you got a zone DB and you're running like an 8-yard like cross or something like that, you can only attack it for so long, right? But you got to make sure that you do attack him. You got to make sure that your body language says that you're trying to run right by him. That's the key on every single play. Your body language and speed has to say that you're going over the top, right? So when you do actually change up tempo, or when you do actually break it off, maybe we do get some more separation, right? It sets up other things. And then when you actually do have to close the gap with this guy and you actually get in close, attacking that blind spot is the second way to attack a zone coverage DB, okay? So let's watch this thing full speed one more time, because once we get him to turn those hips again, we could just break this thing off, run a curl, run a comeback, run a dig, whatever we want to do with it, we can do it when we get this DB to force this hip turn and he doesn't have his eyes on us and he's going off the field, okay? So let's watch this again full speed one more time. I know that was a lot, but again, this position is detailed. Receiver is one of the most undercoached positions in the game of football. I believe that you've heard Dabo Sweeney say that before. So the details of this stuff matters. The details is not something that you can overlook, and some people don't get it. Some people be like, it's too much. That's too much to think about. But you got to think about these things if you want to be a high-level route runner, because you can't just go out there and run routes. Like people always say, it should come natural. No, it shouldn't. It's not going to come natural. That's only going to get you so far. That might get you to the next level, just being a natural athlete, but it won't keep you at the next level, and you won't play at the next level if it's not calculated. There's not a lot of people who are an athlete like Tyreek Hill, for an example, right? Even that dude works his ass off on technique. Even that guy can't just run past guys without technique. Yeah, he's the fastest guy in the league, but everybody's fast, and you got smart defensive coordinators who game plan for that, but you can't game plan for a guy who runs crisp routes and doesn't give any indicators on his route, right? So let's watch the thing again full speed. So he's coming off here, gives that move to that blind spot, snaps this thing off, and then breaks up to the middle. It's a great job by Diggs. All right, so now we're going to be talking about this kind of double move here. So we're going to be talking about your hip drop and how we can make this DB kind of feel me and jump on this route. So let's watch it full speed. So you see how he comes off here, John Ross, and he gives this little stutter and then go, right? So now this is going to be like kind of the main thing, that this is the third way you want to attack a zone coverage DB. So what does he do right here, right? So number one, what do we want to do? We want to close the distance. We want to step on his what? We want to step on his toes. We want to close that cushion. We want to make him uncomfortable. We want to make him bail out of there, and then I can drop this thing off. So you see that's exactly what he does. He comes at him, he's running at him full speed, and then he drops his hips, right? So now you see where this DB's looking. He's looking at the quarterback. So what's he going off of? He's going off of feel, right? So when we make our breaks sudden and explosive, that's what's going to get him a jump on it, especially a double move, right? Because we love it from a quarterback perspective. I love throwing these double moves. I love throwing like a stop and go. I love throwing like an out and up. I love throwing a post corner against when a DB's off, right? When a DB's off like that, I'm not going to get into the whole coverage details of everything scheme wise. But when this DB's off, I love this stutter go, because I know if we sell this well enough and we close the distance and I drop my hips, that DB's looking at me. And if I give a little pump fake to him and he feels that receiver's dropping his hips, that's what gets him to commit. There are so many little details that can get this guy to jump the route, that can get this guy to overcommit and jump it, want to drive on this thing, then I could create some separation. So make sure, third way to attack a zone DB, after we close the gap and I got a double move, that break has to be sudden. There has to be some explosion with either a hip drop or a one-step cut to really get him to overreact, and then I can make him pay with speed, keep my head down, and burst up field. Great job by Ross. And again, we talk about it. He's one of the fastest guys in the league too. Still technically sound, right? Still technically sound. He cannot just run right by this guy. This guy is too well coached, too much of a scheme to be able to just do that to guys, okay? Let's watch this thing full speed. So great job closing the distance, giving that hip drop, get that DB to drop, and then I keep my head down, accelerate back upfield. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave those in the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And again, if you're a receiver and you want to get stronger, you want to be more explosive, you want to be a better route runner, have stronger grip, check out that very first link in the description for a 28-day specific wide receiver gym plan. Again, very first link in the description, learn how you get access to that, and I'll see you guys next time.